I'm Corbitt Wall with USDA Livestock and Grain Market News, reporting here at the American Angus Association's library, downtown St. Joe, for CattleNetwork.com, with a look at your week's feeder cattle and all commercial cattle markets here for the first week of 2011, week ending January the 7th. And comparing back to your pre-holiday markets, which were actually a full 3 weeks ago, last time we had a full week of marketing activities, your feeder cattle, heavier calves, and yearlings sold $2 to $5 higher. Calves under 500 pounds, your lighter weights, were $3 to $7 higher, with spots as much as $10 higher in several major marketing areas. With pretty much feeder cattle demand made it right through the holidays and did not even experience a speed bump, as demand is still outstanding for all classes of feeder cattle and all classes of cattle and beef for that matter. But a lot of times they come through the holidays and have a little bit of lull there, but we didn't have hardly any marketing to speak of through the full 2 weeks up before Christmas and before the New Year's. But now we came back this week and everybody's wanting to cash in on this good market, and a lot of these cattle producers are selling ahead of schedule to cash in on this market, which is going to make supplies even tighter down the road. But for this week, our receipts were 42% higher than the same week last year, and it could have been a little bit of weather interruption last year, but still, with fewer cattle on hand, that's still a huge increase in receipts over a year. But we're back into full swing, and did have some early week this year profit taking there on the commodity futures markets. They'd made some money on those guys in the long position, and didn't want to take those at the end of the year 2010. And so starting out this week, a lot of profit taking there, which did pressure those futures markets, and in turn did pressure your fed cattle market. So fed cattle sold 50 cents to $1 lower this week, from $1.05 to $1.06.5. But that is actually still a full $5 higher than the last week of feeder cattle marketing, which was 3 weeks ago when the fed cattle were just selling around $1.01. So we're still haven't experienced all that kick from your higher fed cattle over the holidays there. But we're just seeing a lot of guys coming into the market now that maybe had some reserve there at the end of last year, but now they're just coming out, and basically we're at all-time record highs for all classes of feeder cattle in all your major marketing areas where feeder cattle are sold on a large scale. And basically any coffee shop, grain elevator, sale barn, anywhere you go, you're going to hear a bigger, wilder West story than you heard the week before, and you probably got one that can trump theirs, and so on and so on. But we're basically and literally into market prices that are unheard of and really hard to fathom sometimes. And I like to look around some of the best markets around. I like to share the love a little bit between all these markets that we report. But in Ogallala, Nebraska, they're out west, had 7,500 head on Thursday. They had over 1,000 head of your top quality 6-weight steers, averaging in the middle sixes. Now all those steers averaged 137.87, which is huge. Had over 900 head in the 5 to 600 pound steer, number one steer category, and they averaged 152.80. And 150 was more than you'd ever hope to get on your little peewee steers before we got into this big market rally. But 152.80 on over 900 head of 5-weight steers. And then had, to top it all off, had a load of fancy 463 pound steers that bring 170.25. And that's just huge. We're just getting into these huge markets, and nobody really knows what too high is, and not sure if it is, but these markets are still going up. There was a few markets, and some of them here in Missouri, where you saw buyers actually showing a little reserve there towards the end of the week, where they basically threw their hands up and just thought, enough's enough of anything. But at the same time, we had other markets around that were just, picking up steam right to the last one that come through the ring. and there was no lower markets anywhere compared to 3 weeks ago. So, very seldom do you see where there's just no lower markets, but there sure wasn't any lower markets around. But, it's really getting high, and we know now that our calf crops for the next year or two are going to be lighter than they were this week because we just continue to cull these cows. We're in herd reduction right now. Your slaughter cow market is awfully good, and still as high as calves are selling. If these slaughter cows have any weight to them at all, they pound out more dollars than a lot of these guys want to give for them that are in the market looking to maybe buy some older bred cows to take back home with them. But you just pound them out and they get up there $700, $800, $900 a head, and that's really more than they want to give. But if these calves are going to bring $2 a pound like they could, then maybe they might start refiguring that. But for right now, we continue to have herd reduction, and this is going to be even worse now because we're now finding out, especially up here in the Midwest, where we have some large ranches and cow-calf operations that are selling their calves off and bringing their cows in and preg testing those cows right now. And evidently we're seeing now that last year's harsh winter was harder on their cow herd than what they actually thought. And then right in there during the time when those cows needed to be conceiving, we did have some high heat and humidity. So those two things together is causing a very poor conception rate pretty much across the country. A lot of these big cow-calf operations are reporting over 30% open cows and replacement heifers, which is horrible. And so that's going to exacerbate the problem. We're going into this supply side problem, and I guess if you got calves to sell, it's not a problem, but we're definitely low on supply. But so then now you're seeing some guys come into the market, these feeder markets, looking for some fancy heifers for replacements. And in Salina, Kansas this week at Farmers and Ranchers Livestock Commission there, they had a special sale on Tuesday and had a lot of good cattle there, but had a lot of reputation and top quality heifers there. Had one load of these heifers come off a Reputation ranch. 720 pound black heifers bring 139 for heifers. And then a part load of the big sisters weigh 816 pounds at $124. So, it's not just the feeder steers bringing big money. Everything's bringing big money. Look at your regional weighted averages this week. In the north central states and all your auction market reporting, 800 to 900 pound steer on the average cost you $120.21. That compares to $116.11 3 weeks ago. And in the south central states, including Missouri there, Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, New Mexico, they had a 7-weight steer averaging in the middle sevens. It cost you $122.13 this week compared to $118.23 3 weeks ago. And down in the southeast, 5-weight crossbred calf cost $124.84 this week compared to $117.24 3 weeks ago. And that wraps up your markets for this week. Check out our website for more market information at marketnews.usda.gov. From the Regional Market News Office in St. Joe, Missouri, talk to you next week.